stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Well, all right. Hello, Jets fans. Here we are. Welcome to the Thursday Thick of It. My name is GreenBean, and I am fortunate enough to spend this time with my good partner here, Mr. Gunny, New York Jets Situation Report. How are you this evening, young sir?
GreenBean, I'm doing extremely well. Today was the last day of training camp, which means, well, you know what it means. It means football is officially here. The offseason and the preseason is about to be in the rear view, which means we're going to have wonderful, beautiful football games to talk about really, really soon. I'm excited. Glad to be here. Let's talk ball.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, man. Like Gunny just said, I think perfect way to start the show. Training camp is over. We are about to go into, in just a couple of days, the final preseason game against our crosstown rivals, the New York Giants, the Snoopy Bowl, which you can see has a little bit less importance than maybe some previous regimes have placed on it. We're not playing anybody, Gunny. We're like, nope. The Jets happen to be at just about full strength. You know, I mean, the only thing is like Hassan Reddick isn't signed. We'll get into that. But as far as the players who are here, is there anybody injured and not going into week one? Right?
Nah, I mean, from the sounds of it, I think Michael Carter was the biggest question mark, right? We got Michael Carter apparently coming back next week. Salah felt pretty confident about his availability. There was some question marks about that little elbow strain from Olu Fashanu, but it's obviously he did a little bit of working out today, so he looks like he's going to be fine as well. So, no, I think the Jets are going into the season, I think, as healthy as they've been in a very, very long time.
Well, and that's the exciting thing. So, like, while I am – you know, I get it. Like I talked to lots of Jets fans, as do you, Gunny. And there's lots of people there like, you know, I want to see him. I want to see Aaron Rodgers for a series. Whatever, Breece Hall, Gary Wilson. I'm right there with you. I want to see him too. I miss these guys. I want to see them. But the truth is whatever rust we're going to knock off in one or two series is trumped by the idea of limiting the risk so we can go into week one against the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football as healthy as we possibly can. They're still playing. They're playing joint practice, and I know it is different than the game. There's no doubt. But it's not like they're sitting on the couch, you know. It's not like they're just, on treadmills and things like that. Like they're playing against other teams in the joint practices. So it kind of look, years ago, when we valued the preseason games a little bit differently, there weren't the joint practices. When they trimmed the fourth preseason game and they made it 3, these joint practices became more of a thing. Like every year we do like one, but now it's like every preseason game, you're in practice with those guys all week. So you already did it, so why go out there and risk the potential injury? It's just, so anyway, I like it. I like the idea of the Jets going into week one healthy. Gunny, for many years, the team that ended up rolling out on week one was not the team that we built. We always had injuries. We always had a few guys coming back week 3. And now here we are, man. It's an exciting thing to behold. And I think it's the right choice, truly. Guys, I put the question in the chat. How disappointed are you or not by the choice to rest every single starter, probably even some second string? So what we'll do is we will tell you right now about the sponsor for this show. As we get going here, I want to thank the one and only BetUS for sponsoring the Thursday Thick of It, which I'll remind you guys, there's a link right in the top of the description of this very video where if you click that link, you will be taken to the BetUS website and be offered a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. 125% bonus, everybody. So that's a pretty big deal. Now, I want to show you guys something. Just one little something to look at. This is new and newer information this week. And we'll look at it. This is a little bit of a change for us, Gunny. Where the hell did it go? Hold on a second here. It's supposed to be up. Hold on. So I'm gonna show you guys this thing. Here it is. Here it is. I found it. Whoops. So Gunny, look at these odds, and you can go to BetUS and take these odds. Look at this. It's a little different than what we're used to looking at, Gunny. Why don't you?
That's facts.
Talk about this a little bit. What are your feelings? What do you think about this little graphic I have on the screen right now?
Listen, I think it's telling. I think it's extremely telling, right? So just a few months ago, this is with Aaron Rodgers back. This is after, free agency was done, the draft was done. The New York Jets were tied in second and third with the Dolphins. There was the Dolphins second, the Jets were third, and this was on BetUS. To see them come this far to where now the Jets have the best odds to win the AFC East, I think it's telling, because I've always said this. If you ever want to get an idea of how an NFL season is going to turn out, if you look at at Vegas, look at what the odds are telling you. A lot of times those guys kind of have something figured out, right? Like, it seems oddly enough that they seem to go ahead always be catered towards the right call when it comes to putting out their odds. And the Jets at 170, it makes perfect sense to me. I think they've seen a lot of what the Jets have done. They've seen some of the preseason games. They've seen some of the training camp. They're seeing that this team operating on all cylinders. They're putting 2 and 2 together and understand that the New York Jets won 7 games last year with the worst offense in all of sports, worst quarterback, worst offensive line. They've drastically improved in that particular aspect. So they won 7 games, and they lost 5 games by 1 possession, to include against the Super Bowl champions, right? So they're looking at the math, and it just makes too much sense in terms of what this team can accomplish. And if they stay healthy, 170, man. I mean, again, I wish I had taken them when they had us. I think it was like plus 225 with the Dolphins a few months back. But here we are climbing up the freaking the odds maker. So again, if Vegas is starting to push this way, that's very telling, right? Because the Bills were number 1 last year. They've been number 1 over the last 3 years. The Buffalo Bills have been. And for them to drop the second for the first time, I think going on 4 years now, is very, very telling what they see with the AFC East.
That's right. And if you're in the mood to lose a whole bunch of money, you can go for that fool's gold at the bottom there. Yeah. You can go ahead and say, hey, 2,600. Let me put $100 down on the. You're going to lose $100. So if you're in the mood to do that, the Patriots are going to suck a whole lot of lemons this year, everybody. So you can do that if you'd like. In many years past, that's what we did for the Jets. It was the same thing. It was like, let me throw $50 on the Jets. If that miracle should happen, I'm a millionaire. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. But as you can see here, the odds are significantly different than we're used to seeing. I will say odds are subject to change, everybody. Like what this says today, it's always evolving and everything like that. But I'll tell you what, it's more than likely going to go down. So like Gunny said, months ago, it was higher, and as we get closer to the season, it's probably going to go down a little bit. So if you're thinking about putting some money on the Jets to win the AFC East, you go to BetUS by clicking the link in the description. Go ahead, get yourself that 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, but do it now. Strike while the iron is hot, and I thank BetUS for sponsoring the Thursday thick of it. And just look at this, like on cue. We're done with the ad, and here he comes. Look at this guy, Mr. Dom C.
There he is. What's up,
Gunny and GreenBean? What is happening, my guys?
Well, this is it. So everybody, I want to make sure that we acknowledge this historic moment. This is the first time that all 3 of us are together for this. This was the plan to have us 3 together for this year. And, Dom's going on cruises and Gunny's and, dealing with hurricanes and whatever's going on. We haven't been able to get here together. So here we are. for the rest of the season. This is the first moment that it happened. So, Dom,
The
welcome
inaugural
aboard.
episode.
The
That's it.
inaugural episode.
The inaugural episode. Now, I don't know if you saw the new thumbnail, Dom, but you're on it. Now it's all three of us on the thumbnail. Did you see it?
Whoa, I did
It's pretty
not.
clean.
I did
It's
not.
pretty
Let
clean.
me-
I like it.
Let me show you the thumbnail here. I'm going to get it up so Dom could see it. I put his mug on there. Here we go. All right, hold on. I'm going to share the thumbnail so Dom C can see it. Look at this. What do you think, Dom? Can you see it?
Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
there it is.
Look at that.
There it is.
Look at that, man.
Not
How about
bad. I put some shiny lights on you and Gunny, like you're shining and special fellas. That's how I see you anyway. So there you go. All right.
That
there's
beard
the
is
thumb-
thick of mine on that picture. That beard is the Thursday
Well,
thick of it.
Yeah, well, you sent me that picture not recently. So that's
That
if
was
you want
a
to send me an
baby beard for
updated
me.
picture.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. How you
Yeah,
guys doing, man?
You guys look beautiful. So Dom, welcome aboard. So you were at camp this week. How's it all going with your Jets coverage? And what do you think? So let's do this. What did you think of camp this week? We'll do it. We'll start that way.
I thought it was probably one of my favorite days in many a year seeing camp. I left feeling like normally I'm very optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person when it comes to the Jets. But I felt very kind of at peace and settled after the joint practice with the Giants because I just thought like everything went very well. The offense was clicking.
Hello, Dom. Is that Dom or me? That's Dom.
That's Dom. Yeah, that's Dom.
Oh, Dom's
Oh, there we go.
frozen.
There he is.
Oh.
There he is. There he is.
Is he
Am
back?
I back?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
All right,
You're back.
What do you? Yeah. So go over that again. You said you like.
Oh,
it
I
and-
said at all different levels too. You saw things like really, really good happen. You saw Garrett was just like that alpha dog that we know he is, but you just saw him really take control. You saw Aaron Rodgers play like Aaron Rodgers. You saw really good things from the running backs, all of them, all the top three, I should say. On top of the one part of the offense that I've been like happiest with of all is how different and how improved our offensive line is. I mean, Tyron Smith, guys, is the real deal. Tyron Smith is exactly as advertised, man, and he was so good. He was so good in practice against the Giants. So I left feeling very very, very satisfied for sure.
Yeah.
Satisfied. And then you flip it on the other side of the ball and you saw Quentin Williams just dominate. You know, just absolutely constant pressure. I liked what I saw from Javon Kinlaw. A couple nice, the whole conglomerate of the defense just worked very well. They did their job. Daniel Jones was efficient, but it was like as vanilla as it comes. Like everything was, either at or behind the line of scrimmage. He didn't turn the ball over, but he also didn't make any. There was no splash plays. Everything geared towards what exactly the Jets defense really is meant to do. Like, we talk about that whole bend, don't break, don't let up the big plays. That's what's really the crux of the Saleh and Ulbrich defense is don't let up the big play, and they didn't. They didn't. Now it's practice. So you take it for a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, I should say. And yeah, so I left very, 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 very content.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And we're gonna show some clips from fan video from the practice. Actually, specifically, our good buddy Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7 has video out there. So we'll show you guys some clips from practice and we'll talk about some stuff. I want to bring up Duncan's comment. Does a boxer not do any sparring prior to the fight because he's afraid of bloody nose? Well, that would apply if they weren't playing the Giants for 2 straight days before the preseason game. So they are sparring. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if this was the only chance for them to play competition, then it's a different story. You know, the fact that like these joint practices are changing everything. So like I'm old, right? I'm 51. I'll be 52 before you blink your eyes. It seems a year, pop, poof, 50. That's how it goes. So I'm in my 50s, and I still have thinking that like preseason games are where you're like everything's forged. Like you don't get to see your guy until the preseason. That's the actual, the actual like test, if you will. It's not the way it is anymore, Duncan. Like these joint practices are where that's going on. And the thing is this, is that in the joint practices, our starters are playing their starters. So when you stick your guys in the preseason games, like you don't know who's going to, like everybody's like kind of playing hodgepodgey. You know, you might have guys trying to make the roster. You just don't want to expose your starters to that stuff anymore. And I know it's less exciting for us and all that, because that's the one that's televised and all that shit, but it's different. And I gotta say, the value of it, like the risk versus reward, it's just not the same as it was years ago. You know, like putting Aaron Rodgers and Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson out there, and you have like, just if they have one guy who's out there, one defensive end who's a bubble guy, and he's out there and he just decides to play till after the whistle and Aaron Rodgers goes down. Like, is it worth whatever rust we could? It's just not. So it's frustrating. And again, my antiquated thought process of being an old head, it's hard to reconcile. It is. But the truth is that it's probably the right move. I really want to show up in San Francisco with our full roster, man. Like that's the that's the way I see it.
That's the end game. Absolutely. You want to get to San Francisco 100% healthy, and we're almost there, right? We haven't seen Michael Carter the second play in a little while, and outside of that, I mean, it depends on where you stand or how you feel about Irv Charles, who's also kind of banged up. He was dressed at practice, at the joint practice with the Giants, and he tried to go, but he came limping off the field. So I think that hip is probably more worrisome than anything, but it really just depends on where you fall or where you stand with Irv Charles. For me, if I was Joe Douglas, I probably wouldn't keep him, because I'm comfortable enough with Stiggers and Eccles being those gunners, because they can give you a little bit more versatility, because you could also play them on defense, and they will play on defense. Right. Irv Charles isn't going to offer anything on offense, but he is he's a true pure special teamer. That being said, with a hip injury, do we want to secure or quote unquote waste a roster spot?
Yeah, no doubt. And you're right. And I gotta say, Dom called this one early. We didn't know hip injuries or anything. We didn't know anything like that was going to occur. But Dom was saying way early, I can see Irv Charles. And I was like, get out of here, man. And I'm starting to think that, especially with the way that the new kickoff is and all that, it's just there are other guys that can do more things, that can fill that role. And I don't know, man. It just looks like, he's a guy to stash. I do believe they would bring him back, on the practice squad. If he's injured, nobody's going to claim him anyway. So you just stuff him.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. For me, if he's not protected on the 53, I'd probably say there's a 50-50 chance that somebody would claim him, because he is good at special teams. But again, that injury is going to play into that. And I think that might be enough to just sneak him by. And again, it goes to the point, and I don't know, maybe Gunny or GreenBean. I know that they say there's a certain amount of roster spots that are left or that are Brent Boyer's choice. If that's the truth, he may choose to go with, Old Reliable and his guy in Irv Charles if he, proves healthy. If that is not 100% accurate, then there's a chance I think Irv Charles could be off this roster. And it's not the end of the world. It won't be the end of the world. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now, Gunny, look at this. Wild Waves comment is good. And that's right. Salah said that. What he said, we did 600 or 800 reps on offense, or so I think
Yeah,
he
for
said.
the ones.
So
Yeah.
yeah, 300 reps ahead of where we were last year. So what do you think of that? Do you feel like it's enough, particularly on the offense, for this group to kind of get their bearings?
I think I might be again amongst the minority here. I saw Duncan on this, and I'm with Duncan on this one, man. I understand the practice reps. They've done a lot more, but we're talking about a guy who hasn't played football in going on 2 years. And you're talking about the most I think difficult competition we're probably going to face this season in terms of a defense is the 49ers. And if we could get in there and sneak a win because we were better prepared than they are, because they're currently right now going through a slew of drama themselves. You got holdouts from freaking their left tackle in Trent Williams. They're still trying to figure out Brandon Ayuk. You got a banged up Christian McCaffrey. They haven't been getting reps in practice right now. I think we have an opportunity now to where the majority of individuals looked at this as potentially a loss. The Jets can go in there, or prepared Jets can go in there, make a statement, and get this win. I don't want the first time Aaron Rodgers getting hit is going to be from Joey Bosa. I think we're not taking into consideration the mentality of it. And I understand it's Aaron Rodgers. He's been doing this for 20 plus years. He's 40 years old. There's concerns about him, getting hurt, but the concerns are going to be there this weekend. And if he gets hurt on the first play against the 49ers, right, people are going to start saying like, man, he should have got some snaps in preseason, maybe gotten hit. You're going to see a lot of the dynamic come out in regards to the what ifs. I think right now in this particular situation to go up against any team in the preseason would have been fine by me, but just where the fear of actually getting hit was being put out there. The thought process is like, oh, he's getting these reps. He knows they can't hit him. He knows he's got that red jersey on. You're not going to hit me. He knows they can't intentionally hit him. So for me, mentally speaking, I wanted him to get out there and just go ahead and dice up freaking the Giants defense or whoever it was going to be for a rep, just to go ahead and get that rust knocked off of him, because the fear of being hit, I think, matters when it comes to this. And if he's thinking about that, and if he's having second doubts about the injury, if he's able to escape, or if he can take a hit, all those things are going to run through his mind until he gets that first hit. I have concerns of him having to worry about that until the second quarter against the 49ers, he finally gets hit. And then he's just like, oh, okay, I'm good. Whereas if it's already been taken care of in the preseason, he goes in there knowing like, okay, I got hit already. I'm going to be all right. So I'm on the other side of it. I would have loved to have seen the ones, specifically the offensive line component, going at it full tilt, where they've gotten a couple of drives. If it was one drive, I don't care. Just an opportunity for them to go out there for the bullets to be real, to know that, hey, Aaron Rodgers can get hit. Aaron Rodgers to know, hey, I can get hit. You know what I'm saying? I got to make sure I either can take this hit and get back up, or I can go ahead and avoid it, whatever it's going to be. But for me, he's going to be thinking about that, I think. I mean, again, 2 years. He's going to be thinking about that going into this game against the best defensive line we're going to see all season. And I really believe we have a chance to steal one because they're going through so many things. So I would have preferred we were better prepared going into this game. So I have my question marks about it. I would have preferred he was out there. But again, I understand the fear factor and the PTSD of the majority of
fear. I don't think. See, that's the thing. I think that's where my disconnect is with everybody. I don't think it's like we're afraid, right? Look, I totally hear what you're saying, but does Aaron Rodgers getting hit by Justin Simmons, or what is that? Is it Justin Simmons? I'm frying out. Wait, the Giants line.
Dexter Lawrence.
Simmons. Who's their lineman? Didn't they?
Dexter Lawrence.
Isaiah Simmons?
Isaiah Simmons. Right, the linebacker. Right. Like, so if he comes streak and hits Aaron Rodgers, what does that do?
Yeah.
I don't. So like, it's one thing if you're like, holy shit, man, I don't want to put my guy out there, I'm afraid. Or if it's just like risk versus reward isn't there, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's more of an educated decision as opposed to fear. That's the thing. I think like we immediately associate that we're like afraid. I don't know if that's the case. I think it's just risk versus reward. I want to say this. This is another moment, relatively historic, because this guy, I banned Hawk last year. If you guys remember, Hawk and I got into it pretty heavy duty style. Hawk was quite the Zach Wilson guy, and I couldn't handle it anymore. And we had some words, and I said, that's it. And I banned him. And like, since then, every streamer, so at least one person would do a hashtag free Hawk. And I saw Hawk on I stopped by Nick Shine's show last week, and he said, "Hey, GreenBean, can I be unbanned now that Zach's not on the team?" And I said, "You know what? We were feeling so good. It was the stream. Nick got over 1,000 subscribers. It was a love fest. Dom bailed, and I said, you know what? Let's give it another shot. So welcome back to the GreenBean channel, Mr. Hawk.
Welcome back, Hawk.
Yeah, which is crazy because Hawk's been around for years, and we never had an issue. And then it was like all of a sudden this just became contentious. So I think Hawk, I think we're gonna be fine this year, buddy. I'm glad you're back. Welcome back to the show. And everybody, give a little drop some hearts in the chat if you wouldn't mind. For Hawk being back on the channel. Let's drop some love in there. And there's some free Hawks. I'll drop a heart. There's some hearts. I'm going to drop some Fireman Eds for you. There you go. Fireman Eds for Hawk. Drop some hearts in the chat to welcome Hawk back. Now I got a few. So I wanted to say RB Gamer, a beanbagger, a stream beaner. Thank you for being such an incredible supporter of the channel, Gamer. And this is the free super chat you get from joining the channel. He says, Brock Purdy is getting sacked 5 times. Our D line will conjure the spirit of the sack exchange. And later that week, Reddick will sign with the Jets. Well, let me ask you this. How, and I'll start with you, Dom, and I also want to see, we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday night, but we have the Hassan, and on Gunny, I want your thoughts too. So we talked about it. The Hassan Reddick thing is unfortunate, right? Like clearly we all want him here, right? And it's a detriment. We lost Bryce Huff, we lost JFM, and we got Will McDonald. He's a question mark. Michael Clemens, whatever. But they're out. The Niners are without somebody else, and that's Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And Trent Williams is among, if not the best left tackle in the NFL. And there's a discussion that we were having, like who do you think impacts the game more? Like, what's the bigger loss, Dom? The Niners not having Trent Williams, and this dovetails with Gamer's comment here. Trent Williams not being there or Reddick not being there for the Jets. Who do you think is the bigger loss?
Oh, Trent Williams. I mean, that's to me, that's an open question. I'd probably even say, honestly, if and this is not said with green goggles, I would rank him Trent Williams, then Christian McCaffrey being banged up and not at full strength. Remember, he hasn't played all camp. Now they're expecting him to be back week 1.
They're saying 100% by week 1, but
but I'm not sure about that. A calf, you need that to get healthy. I don't think you're going to see, even if you see him, and he's close to 100%. I don't think he's going to get 100% of the reps. So I'd say that, then Ayuk, and then Reddick. I would put it in that order.
Well, and Ayuk, they're saying they're zeroing in on a deal, but he hasn't played either. These guys, they're pros. They'll come in, they'll do the thing, but it's a big. If Ayuk's not there, that's huge for them. Yeah. But Trent Williams, and look, I happen to like Jalen Moore as his backup. I like him, but he's not Trent Williams, dude. And the idea, JJ. Who's predominantly, he's going to play the most reps at right defensive end. He's going to have a much more fun day, let's say, potentially.
Oh yeah.
Going against Jalen Moore than he is Trent Williams, so it's a monster loss.
Yeah. Trent Williams being out. On top of that, they also lost their right guard. They're starting Dominic Pooney. Remember the rookie from Kansas?
Right. Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
So they're starting him because their right guard is out. And I believe Aaron Banks, their left guard, is also banged up.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're expecting him back. He's been out for a couple weeks. He's another guy that might be back by the time the game comes, but he's not going to be at full strength. So it's not only, Trent Williams is head and shoulders above any of those guys. But now you got their 2 starting guards that are possibly out or not at 100%. And then Trent Williams, the question mark. You got, listen, it's not ideal. I'll say that for San Francisco. You tie that in or dovetail that in with Ayuk if he shows up, if he's in, he hasn't practiced, what kind of shape is he going to be in? You tie that in with Christian McCaffrey, who's coming off of a calf injury, and you know how finicky those soft tissue injuries could get.
That's right, man.
Listen, it's all lining up, to our benefit and the San Francisco detriment. I'm not saying that it locks us in or guarantees us a win or anything like that. It's still going to be a challenge, still going to be a good game. But listen, give me all the advantage you can.
Hell
Ricky
yeah.
Ricky Pearsall also out of camp, not playing.
That's right. Pearsall, who we all loved coming out in the draft this year. But before I get to Gunny, real quick, Dom, real quick.
Shoot.
It looks like Spencer Burford is the Aaron Banks backup. I don't know anything about him. You know anything about that guy? Any good? I mean, because going against Quentin Williams, that's going to be a rough day.
He was drafted, I believe it was the 22 class. I'm trying to remember where he came out of.
No, so nothing really.
No,
I mean, it's just I'll tell you what. Having
University, I want to say it was like San Diego State or Texas El Paso or one of those small schools. Texas El Paso, Texas Christian. I don't, like I said, he was a mid-round pick. I don't remember anything special or crazy about him, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. So think about Jalen Moore and Spencer Burford going against Jermaine Johnson and Quentin Williams all day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be a great opportunity.
And then Pooney, who we think he's good, but he's still a rookie. Like you want your cherry to get popped against Quentin Williams and Javon Kinlaw playing against his old team. He's going to come out with his ass on fire.
You know it.
Yeah.
Oh, so Gamer, you're getting me excited. So Gunny, I'll ask you the same question. How do you feel about the loss of, the absence, I should say, of Hassan Reddick versus the absence of Trent Williams?
Yeah, for me, it's not even without question. I don't think, you can really miss or lose something that you've never had. The Hassan Reddick, situation to me is a cherry on top scenario if he was to ever show up. The New York Jets had a top 5 defense without him last year, and I believe they're on track to do that this year. I think they've made some replacements on that defensive line that are supposed to replace the people we've actually lost, aka Huff and freaking JFM. I think the level of talent we brought on can supersede some of that production that we're losing from those guys. So for me, Hassan Reddick, man, is just a bonus. I wasn't tripping over him not being here. I'm not going to trip over him not being here. I think without question, it's the loss of Trent Williams. I think if you don't have that left tackle there, a lot of what that offensive line can do. I mean, we saw freaking Trent Williams make freaking the bum that we freaking got from them a Pro Bowler. I'm having a brain fart right now. Left guard, from the 49ers was a Pro Bowler, straight trash.
Tomlinson.
Wow.
Thank
you. Laken Tomlinson. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
He made that dude a Pro Bowler. I forgot his name all of a sudden. I was just like, that bum. I forget his name.
That's crazy.
He made Laken Tomlinson a freaking Pro Bowler. So I think the loss of him is going to be impactful. And it's not even without question. I think without question, that's going to hurt them more, which is why I'm going to be as prepared as possible to take full advantage of them being pretty much hindered through training camp and going into week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's serious. Now, look, Rusty Spooner, our good buddy. Good to see you, Rusty, as always.
What's up, Rusty?
He says the Niners have the Madden curse because McCaffrey's on the cover. Now, let's see how the season goes.
Ooh, that's right.
But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. So, all right, let's get to a couple super chats here. Our good buddy Jonathan Francois checking in says health matters more than winning the Snoopy Bowl.
Amen.
Not according to Rex Ryan, buddy. He says winning that damn game is at all costs. I don't care. That was the start of the Geno Smith era, if you remember. But yeah, I agree. So tell Jonathan, he's telling Gunny. He's saying Gunny, pipe down. That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
the science and the professionals stand with me on this one in terms of the importance of him getting these reps.
Nerds, all of them, Gunny.
I'm on Team Bubble Wrap, man. I'm on Team Bubble Wrap. Get in healthy. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jonathan. D New York for life checking in. If any player gets injured in preseason, it's not worth it. Now, I'll bring up, a lot of you guys are younger than me. Because as I age, just more and more people are adults that were children before, for when I was watching the Jets. But there was a very famous, very important year where Chad Pennington was our quarterback, and we had a very good team. And in the preseason game against the New York Giants, some scrub ass guy streaking in, I believe it was kind of after the whistle. By today's standards, it'd be a late hit, penalty, fine, everything else. He picked Chad Pennington up and slammed him to the ground, broke his wrist. He was out for the year. Like me and my buddy, Joe Patty, Dom. And Joe Patty were in my house in Boonton, New Jersey, up in my den on the 4th floor of this house we rented. And we're sitting there, we're all psyched for the season, and that happened, and we literally looked at each other and said, that's it. The year. The whole year is done. Like, that's it. In preseason, it was like we knew, right, that's it. But say we're going to watch it, but the whole season's down the toilet. And so we just don't want to do that, man.
But think about
I got to ask you, what was worse, that or 4 snaps into the season last year? Monday Night Football in front of the entire world.
Or, I was just going to say, not only that, you got the Aaron Rodgers, you also got Vinny. Remember when Testaverde blew his ankle out?
Oh, that was the worst.
Yeah. I mean, horrible. so like pick your poison. I mean, this has just been like a curse on the Jets. That's why I'm on Team Bubble Rat, man. Let's get into the regular season. By the way, off topic, Creed Humphrey was just made the league's highest paid center with an extension.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Creed Humphrey just got paid, man.
A guy that many Jets fans, including one GreenBean, wanted in that draft.
You wanted him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Fryermuth and Creed Humphrey were 2 names that I've never heard you say more.
Yeah, man. Well, look, I just think, like, they go, oh, it's a crapshoot. It's a fucking dart throw. Maybe. I don't know. I tend to nail these guys quite a bit there, Gunny. I do pretty well. Now, once you get to the 4th, 5th, 6th, it gets harder, of course. But I don't know, man. I just think, like, for many, many years, the Jets organization has overcomplicated the living hell out of the draft. It's like, it seems to me like, clearly, this is the guy. You need this position. There he is. Bring him in. And they're like, you know what we're going to do?
We're going to take a 3rd safety.
We're going to get this guy from this small school nobody's ever heard of. He's a diamond in the rough. Well, how about this? How about take the diamond in the diamonds? How about just grab the diamond? So Creed Humphrey was one of those guys. Good for him. Sucks that he's not, he's not our guy. But hey, we got Tippmann now, and our line looks pretty good. So we'll go there. I do want to remind everybody that we are live streaming for the Jets-Giants game. We'll start at 7 p.m. I will tell you that Frankie from Flatbush will be joining us again. So it'll be Jeremy, myself, and Frankie so he can chart and do all his things. He'll be coming on again with us for the preseason festivities. So I hope you guys will join us. It's a good time. Last week was crazy. We had Dom on too, and all 4 of us were at different times on the game because it was on NFL Plus. We couldn't pause it. So usually Jeremy and I on YouTube TV will just go, hey, where are you? And we'll align it. So at least we're watching the game. Dude, that was a tough one. Dom's like, oh my God. We're like, shut up. It's like, and then I'm next, and then Frankie, and then Jeremy. It was like, it wasn't easy to do. But anyway, it's a good time. So Frankie will be there again with us on Saturday night, and we'll have a good time. Fernando Velez checking in, everybody. He says, my theory on Olu playing right tackle. If Tyron is all pro level, I see Olu replacing Moses and us keeping Tyron for another season or 2. Amazing situation. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's say, hypothetically, Tyron Smith makes it the whole season or misses like a game, something like that. And you have the opportunity to keep him and put Olu Fashanu at right tackle, that's not the worst thing. I would even retain Morgan Moses as a swing. I mean, why not? You could do stuff like that. But I think the plan is, as it stands right now, is probably that Olu is the heir apparent. Just that year with Tyron Smith, and Olu will be nice and primed and ready to take the left tackle spot next year. But not a bad situation. Gunny, how do you feel about that? Is that something you'd like to see?
Honestly, I'd like to go ahead and keep Tyron and Morgan Moses and have our Olu Fashanu pick just get another year of learning behind two elite tackles. So I have a hard time believing Tyron to make it through an entire season, or Morgan Moses. So having the young guy back there to be the one that kind of steps in if need be. But personally, I would rather we keep him at left tackle so he masters the art of being a left tackle. I do believe he's the replacement. I've loved everything I've seen about this kid in college, and I'm loving him even more in training camp and in preseason. So personally, I keep Olu as the swing tackle, find a way to go ahead and keep freaking Tyron and Morgan Moses on team-friendly deals. They're both, I think they're both right there within that same age range. Give them another year on this roster. Run it back. Win the Super Bowl this year. Run it back one more time with the same squad. Then you can go ahead and have Tyron Smith have Olu take over for Tyron Smith.
Hey, you know what? I like Gunny's plan, Tom. That sounds good. Win the Super Bowl, run it back with the same guys. I'm not against that. What do you think of this idea overall, Dom?
I think ideally it's going to really be determined by what Aaron Rodgers' decision is, right? If they have a good season and Aaron Rodgers says, all right, I'm coming back one more, let's give it a go. I think that one of the guys could be back, whether it's Tyron or Morgan Moses. I think financially it might make sense to keep Morgan Moses over Tyron Smith. But yeah, I listen, if they get back and they're healthy, because both of them are 33, you're pushing maximum density. Some of these tackles, 34, 35 is that, and that's it. So
Trent Williams is the exception to the rule.
Yeah, he is.
I keep telling people that
he's a unicorn, man. Jason Peters was a unicorn too. He played well. He played at a high level at 38, 39, 40 years old. But yeah, so I listen, I think Olu's probably going to man one of the spots. More than likely, unfortunately, probably the left tackle. And I say unfortunately because that means that Tyron's not going to be here. But yeah, listen, I think the good thing is that we're in good shape, right? We're in good shape. We have three very, very viable we have one borderline elite tackle. We have one one good starter, and we have one young buck in the waiting that has sky's the limit on his potential. So I think that's in good. I think we're in good hands, and I think in good shape. Like if we have to replace one tackle, so be it. I still am not giving up hope, although the hope is waning that either Max Mitchell or Carter Warren can develop into that right tackle of the future. So you might have your right tackle and your left tackle on the roster already. That would be ideal, man.
To be fair, Carter Warren has looked really good in the preseason and training camp. I've really enjoyed watching Carter Warren play. I don't know if you think differently, but from what I've seen,
I got to be honest. I haven't watched him in the games. Like I haven't seen him. I just haven't really focused on him. Yesterday was it yesterday? Yeah, in the joint practice of the Giants, I will say this: Brian Burns ate his lunch in the one-on-one reps. So when they did offensive line versus defensive line in the practice portion, he got skull fucked for lack of.
Oh my God! Don't you dare! Hey, don't talk like that on this stream. This is a family stream. So I will say, I want to admit something. When I was saying Simmons earlier, I was trying to find Brian Burns in my brain. That's who I was really going for. But I said Simmons, and I sent us down a crazy wormhole. But yes, Burns is who I was talking about. So, but
he didn't eat Tyron Smith's lunch. That's for sure.
No, he didn't.
No. Listen, I'm going to say this. I tip my cap. I think the Giants have a really good defensive line. That
they do,
and it's practice. It's practice. You take it for what it's worth. But I mean, Tyron Smith looked like a man amongst boys there.
Yep.
It didn't matter who they lined up on him. Didn't matter who they lined up on. He looked like a man amongst boys.
That man's built
And-
different.
Let's take a look here. We'll watch a couple plays. This is from our courtesy of Jets Talk 24/7, the great Ryan Delaney. We got a pitch out to the right side, Brees. He would have been tackled there, by the way.
Yeah.
So whatever. Just so you know. We'll get here. Here we go. Look at this. Who's the left tackle there? Could you tell, Dom?
You know what? I was looking at the Kansas City Chicago game. They just carted somebody off, so I wanted to see who it was.
Oh, no good. Look at Kuntz with the block. You know, they call that a touchdown, but Aaron Rodgers would have been sacked. But all right, we'll show you some more clips of that as we continue. Wyatt checking in says GreenBean insists. Yeah, I know. Look at this guy. GreenBean insisting he would be an awesome GM never fails to make me laugh. Well, I mean, I hope it's laugh with pure ridiculous realization that I'm right, Wyatt. Because here's the thing. Now, I don't know contracts, of course, and there's more to the job. You know, armchair GMing is significantly easier than being the GM. We all know that. But I'm just going to tell you, for 20-something years, I've been picking players for the draft. I've been making, you know, if you will, boards and all that kind of shit. And, dude, the players I would have collected, and they were just there. I mean, right there. You know, we just chose otherwise. I'm talking dozens of Hall of Famers and all pros. And I mean, what the, you know what I mean? And the coaches I wanted, like, you know, it's like they all go.
So here's the litmus. Here's the litmus test, Bean.
Yeah.
Who would you have taken in the 2020 draft? Do you remember? I mean, that's not that far back. That was the Mekhi Becton. So that was the Mekhi Becton draft.
Oh no, it's on camera. It's on. That was our first year ever doing the draft live. Me, Matt O'Leary, Ryan, Gangrene David was with us. I said Tristan Wirfs. So I mean, I wanted the tackle. Now that year, the big
I was team CeeDee Lamb. That's why I was asking.
Well, right. That was the thing. The big debate was tackle or wide receiver. Very similar to this year, weapon and that was a very robust wide receiver class. It was, you know, up top, it was Judy, Lamb, Ruggs, and Jefferson. But I will tell you, I loved CeeDee Lamb, but Justin Jefferson was my wide receiver one in that draft. But I will say, I also loved Laviska Shenault and Mims and everybody else. But Justin Jefferson was my wide receiver one, and I would have taken. But I was team tackle. And once two tackles were off the board, Wills and Thomas were off the board. I didn't hate the pick. You know, when he chose Becton, I said, okay, you're swinging for the fences. I like it, but I knew the safer pick was Tristan Wirfs. The only downside was we really needed that left tackle, and Tristan Wirfs was a right tackle. Now, the idea was he could totally do it, but I didn't love that, but I still would have. If it was me, I would have taken Tristan Wirfs. What do you think of that, Dom? Am I right or am I wrong, Sugar Plums?
I think you're I think your hindsight is wonderful. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, listen, I wanted any tackle other than Becton, and of course that's who we ended up with. That's like I wanted Lamb or any tackle other than Becton.
Amazing.
So
he was a risk. He was a boomer bust. So I mean, look, you got to give it to Joe Douglas at the time. That was his first ever draft pick, and he decided, like, "Hey, man, I'm going for the fences."
That's it. That's it. I mean, and it's funny because there's two schools of thought, and I think positionally you have to have those two schools of thought, right? You either have to swing for the guy who really can be the All-Pro, or you swing, and you go for the home run, or you just try to hit a nice single up the middle and get your high floor guy, right? And I think Wirfs and Andrew Thomas were the high floor guys in that class.
No
they
doubt.
ended up being great. They ended up being more than that, but they were the high floor guys. Mekhi Becton was that home run, and the reality is that we don't know what really could have ever become of Becton because the knee injuries 2 years in a row, not playing football, just really put a damper on any of that. But CeeDee Lamb would have been nice. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, looking back, hey, how about the Raiders choosing Ruggs as the first wide receiver in that draft? You know what I mean? I was like, Like, there's just no way. And that's what I talk about, like these organizations. It's like there's just no good reason to take Ruggs over CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Justin Jefferson. It just doesn't make sense. It's like when the Eagles chose Rieger over Jefferson. Remember, there's the famous video of the Vikings war room. They were like, "Oh, we know the Eagles are taking a receiver. It's going to be Jet." They were so dejected, and then they took Rieger, and they were like, "Ah!" Like they couldn't believe it. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like teams, they get lost in the sauce. Now, again, like I'm not there. Like Dom and Frankie, like they're scout mentality. So when you get all those guys in the room, they know a little bit better about like the deconstruction. And you start to get into like these fine details and everything. But like I said it many, many times, again, I'm not a pro and I know that. And a lot of what I say is fun, but like, I feel like my favorite type of guy to bring on the team is a football player. I would choose a football player over a track guy for the speed. You can't teach speed. I get it. But this guy's a football player. Like I would choose that more times than I would choose the pure athleticism. So that's just me. But look at this little conversation. This is funny. I want to point this out, and then I'll get to Alan's super chat. Dano says, Zach ruined charts for me. RB Gamer says, Zach ruined life for me. I think that's wonderful. I mean, not that it happened, Gamer, but that's just that's funny. Alan checking in. He says, grab the diamond in the diamond. Love it. I know. Who knows what the shit that comes out of my mouth, Alan? I think the point was at least understood, but what the hell does that even mean? Grab the diamond in the diamond, everybody. It's a new t-shirt I'm going to make. It's my new catchphrase. I don't know. But thank you, Alan. Yeah, Alan's a good man. Jay Taylor, 1018, checking in. I keep seeing quarterbacks to the Jets in 25 mock draft. What do you think of that, Gunny? You think that's going to happen?
Yeah, and I've seen that a couple of times too. And I think that's just the idea is that Aaron Rodgers is in his last year and potentially he's going to go ahead and retire. I think they're leaning more so towards the fact that this is his last year of his contract. But yeah, it's a no for me. I definitely think Aaron Rodgers comes back after a good season this year. We push that quarterback pick into the following season, take a couple of late rounders to move up if need be. Because again, when you win the Super Bowl in back-to-back years, you obviously have the 32nd overall pick. So we're going to need to go ahead and trade some pieces to go ahead and move up to go ahead and get the quarterback of the future. But for me, I think next season, man, we're going to go either offensive line again or weapon to kind of fortify this offense even further. I don't think they're done. I think if Aaron Rodgers says he'll do one more year, they're going to go ahead and find who that right tackle is going to be, or they're going to load up with a weapon. I don't think it's going to be let's just go ahead and get a quarterback to sit behind him. Although you'd love that because you've seen it work for Green Bay, I think the Jets are swinging for the fences over these next couple of years.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I want to show you guys one play here. I want to just point this out. Here we go. And we'll show you a few of these plays as the stream goes on. Again, courtesy of Jets Talk 24/7. You want to look. So you got Alan Lazard out here. See? You got Garrett Wilson here. You got Kuntz. I can't quite tell who that is over there to Aaron Rodgers' right. But look at this set. So watch this play, everybody. I just want to point something out. This is going to be Dom's favorite thing to say. It's going to support Dom's idea. Watch this. Okay. Here we go. We got good time. Perfect pass. And he drops it. Anybody want to guess who that was?
Alan freaking Lazard.
No, that was Kuntz.
Zach Kuntz. the man who
good guess, Gunny. Don't get me wrong.
Why is he even out there with the ones?
There he is.
You know what? It's a weird. First off, I love that they're in spread 0 here, 5 receivers. I'm assuming Brees was the guy on the inside on the slot on the right, or running back at least. Great formation, but Zach Kuntz, man, it'd be nice to be a tight end that has no real football skill. That's like Zach Kuntz in a
he's on this roster purely off of that RAS score. I believe it's
and I'm
that
fine
big.
Listen, and that's fine. At the 7th round,
I'm done with the experiment. I'm sorry, I'm over it.
You want to throw a dart in the 7th round? I'm all for it, man. That's it.
Look how pissed off Aaron Rodgers was. Did y'all see that? Play it
Wait,
back.
no.
Look at Aaron Rodgers on the back end of it. He
I didn't
pissed off
see
when he
that.
turned around.
Let's see.
Yeah, look at
Okay,
Aaron
let's-
Rodgers when he turned
Watch
around.
Aaron Rodgers, everybody. He's like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So
Like, if
watch
you
this
play it-
one here. Tyron Smith is in there, I believe, right? You got Kenny. Is that Kenny Yeboah? I think that's Yeboah on the outside. Alan Lazard in motion. Garrett Wilson over here. Oh, who's this? I can't quite see.
Hang on 1 second. What formation is this? What are we in here?
All right. Well, let's let him get set and let's see.
All right.
Here we go. Talk us through it, Dom. What are you seeing?
I'm trying to see who's down on the end right there. I see Lazard just came in motion across.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who's down right there. I
Well-
mean, it looks like we're in 12. With Kenny Yeboah in the backfield.
No, this is an 11. No, that's not. Is that Kenny? No, that's 83. That's Conklin here. So this might be Yeboah here at fullback. So this is a technically a 21, Dom.
Yeah, unless they move him out here. All right, so
Let's
let's run through this play. I'm
And
interested.
that's
in seeing what
Garrett
happens.
Wilson here. Tyron Smith at left tackle. Here we go. Oh,
Just
okay.
checked off into something.
Yep. Okay. Little wide receiver screen action.
Oh,
And
look
look
at
at
that. too.
See,
And-
'cause Aaron Rodgers
No,
saw it.
rewind that.
That's
Bean.
beautiful, actually.
Yeah. All right. So watch
That's the
Rodgers. He look at
Yeah,
Rodgers.
watch Aaron Rodgers.
He looks at defense, sets it down. He comes across. They see, all right, he's in man coverage. And he says, Allen, get the fuck out there. Look at all that space. Look at
Yeah.
this guy. I'm gonna get you the ball real quick. Nobody's there. Boom.
Yep. I love
The
having
season
now
to get here.
having a quarterback that can see, recognize, and respond to the defense and make adjustments is something that we are quite frankly not used to, Jets fans.
Yeah. Well, he read that he knew his man, right? Obviously that he brought him in motion. You saw the trail. He's reading that. What he's doing, he's reading that Sam. He's reading that strong side linebacker who's creeping. So he knows he's blitzing. So he knows he got no one else out there but that cornerback and a safety who's playing too high. So for the time of safety to get over to Alan Lazard, again, they're on the 10-yard line, right? 9-yard line, something like that. For the time for the safety to get over, who's single high to get over, it's Alan. You get the ball in Alan Lazard's hand. He's got one guy to beat in 9 yards. You take those odds.
Yep.
And guess what? It worked. That's the difference of having a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers as opposed to one Trevor Simeon or whatever.
So that's
whatever
what
guy you
football
want.
IQ
Don't
looks
shit
like.
on Simeon. Simeon at least gave us relatively competent football. He fucking saved us. We had Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle. I just felt like I was in a time loop. I was like, I can't believe. Like, listen to this. I was so excited to go to the Black Friday game. I bought a friend of mine for his 50th birthday, his tickets. And I haven't been to a game. I used to go to all the games with him years ago. And we haven't been to a game together since.
And you went with Rob.
Stadium.
He's a Dolphins fan too, right?
And he's like, well, yeah, he's a Dolphins fan. One of my best friends since junior high school. But we went to every Dolphins game for like 15 years 10 years, whatever it might have been. And I haven't been to a game with him since, I don't know, man, like at least Giant Stadium. So it's been a long time. So I was so excited, go up, see my family for Thanksgiving, which we haven't gone up to New Jersey. I haven't spent Thanksgiving with my family since I moved to Florida, which was 2006. So here we are, 2023. I'm like, you know what? The Jets are playing on Black Friday. My buddy's turning 50. I'm going to go spend Thanksgiving with my family, which, by the way, I learned why I don't. So that was a good experiment. This is why I don't do this with my family. So I got to see that again. Now I'm going to stay home for Thanksgiving. But I'm just kidding. I love my family. But anyway, but going out there and watching Tim Boyle, that was obviously the Fail Mary and all that shit. It was just, we sat and I brought my nephew with me and my son, and it was like brutal. So Trevor Simeon, at least those last couple games, gave us a little bit to watch. So Dom, I don't appreciate you talking about him like that. But you're right. The point is, let's watch this play now. What do we got here, Dom? Talk about this.
It's 11. 11 with the trips to the left. I'm trying to see if that's Kuntz. Looks like he's, whatever. Let's see the play. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's Kuntz there.
Rewind it.
Yeah,
One more time.
All right, here we go.
I want to walk through the play again. Yeah, listen, this is a prototypical your standard West Coast mesh concept where you have crossers. Now, in man coverage, you just take and hope that which one is the open one. Now, if you watch Garrett Wilson on that play, I mean, he ends up throwing it to Lazard and it scores and fine. But if you watch Alan Lazard, who's the flanker on the far side, watch him come all the way across. I mean, he's wide ass open too. Nothing special on this play. I didn't look at what the offensive line did. I was just trying to look at the scheme and whatnot. And this is your standard West Coast offense 101. Everything, every pattern, crossing on a horizontal plane more so than a vertical one.
Yeah. All right, here we go now.
So watch Garrett Wilson. Oh, there's another play.
Well, yeah, who was that? Was that little Gippy?
This is a different play. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was Gibson now. Look at this. Is that 82?
Gibson on the left.
Yeah, Gibson.
And this is in. So this is 4 wide. You're in 10. You got the. Yeah, you got the trips to the wide side, so you're good.
Brees Hall's to his left. I think that's Brees.
Yeah, he's offset. He's offset weak. You got the trips to the wide side. I don't know what play this is, though. I don't remember.
So this is the Gibson touchdown.
Is it a Gibson touchdown?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's Brees.
Yeah. That's the one where he checks the ankles. There he goes.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Very nice. I watch one more, then we'll chit chat. Here we go. Little handoff action to Braylon Allen. Got a flag on the play. All right. It's fun to watch this stuff. See, this is the thing. So we are, this is preseason game. If you watch, here's the thing, though, too, is that we don't get. That's why I'm so grateful Ryan does stuff like this, because we're not going to see them play preseason. But you get, if you can see, if we were able to watch this, it kind of takes away some of that angst. That said, let me end the poll and see what everybody else said about that. About that question of how disappointed are you that the Jets are not playing anybody? So 79% said no, I'm not disappointed at all. Let's stay healthy. 20% said yes, I'd prefer to shake off the rust. So I think it's pretty significant margin there. 80% of Jets fans are in the Dom C camp of Team Bubble Wrap. Let's call them
Team Bubble Wrap.
Listen,
no. Is there real rust? So you said, I'd rather see him shake off the rust. Is it rusty? I mean, that looked like a well-oiled machine right there that we watched on Wednesday.
I guess we'll find out on game day when he can actually get hit, and he's thinking about it.
Well, right, and that's the one X factor. I think Gunny does bring up a good point. The fact that he's wearing a red jersey, it does change things. Like, he knows he's not getting hit, so how he acts back there, it's probably a little bit different when they put the regular green jersey on him, or white for that matter. But yeah, I mean that's definitely a factor. There's no doubt, and that's a valid point. So I want to remind you guys about our sponsor for the show, the one and only BetUS. Now, Dom, I shared this before, but Gunny had a little point. I want to show you guys the odds for the AFC East. Look at this. So, guys, the link is right at the top of the description. You can click the link, which will give you 125% bonus on your first 2 or 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you go to the BetUS app using the link here. But, Dom, look at these odds. What do you think of this? What are your thoughts here, Dom? Dom.
I'm here.
I said, what are your thoughts?
No, I completely froze right there. I just had to reset everything. Yeah, I'm having issues. I got to turn the game off. I think it's just jamming me up the YouTube TV here. Let me do that. It's a boring game anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Repeat yourself.
I said, what do you think of these? What do you think of these AFC East?
I'm shocked. If this is new, I'm shocked. It's the first time that I've seen the Jets actually have the best odds to win the division.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Look, poor Patriots, man. Look at this. It's so
Not
close.
poor Patriots.
Hey,
fuck them.
Patriots.
170, 175, 200,
2,600.
Poor Patriots.
I'm just saying, like, when you look at this, I'm just like, oh, poor guys.
Dude, that's us. That's been us for the last 20 years.
I know.
Yeah. It's their turn.
If I'm being honest with you, I'm shocked to see that we're first, but I got to be even more honest, rip down more layers of it. I don't like being the favorites. I like kind of laying low and coming from behind and so on and so forth, being, like not being the hunted. I like being the hunter.
No, I get it. And that's more of our comfortable position too. Like, and look, every year, like last year, there was all this hubbub, the hard knocks, and what happened? So, like, we are much more comfortable. Like, no, let's just tell everybody we're going to suck and then come out and take them by surprise, so to speak. But the other side of it is, dude, this is one of the best Jets rosters that we've trotted out there. I mean, in a very long time, ever, really. One of the better rosters we've ever put together. So the idea that Gunny brought up a great point, Tom, which is that Vegas, they have their hands on the strings to some degree, right? If they're saying this, there's something to it. So I don't know. I think it makes me a little excited. It's weird, but guys, like Gunny said before too, these odds are going to go down. So just like they have before, the Jets were at 220 or something like that just a little while ago. So if you're going to get your action in there, strike while the iron's hot. This stuff's probably going to go down somewhat. Just wait until they know exactly if Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk are going to be there. You're going to see that line change too. Right now we're getting points. We're going to be getting points no matter what, I think. But I think right now we're at 5 or 5.5 or something like that. So you're going to see it. Like, if you're going to take your action, do it now instead of waiting, because it's only going to get worse for you as far as what you can win. But again, I want to thank BetUS for hanging out with us and sponsoring the show. It's going to be a fun year, everybody. D New York for Life checking back in says, with this O-line, he's not getting hit. Ball out. All right, man. I think, Gunny, you think there's what do you think? Do you think that's a real thing? You think our offensive line is actually going to go from worst ever to among the better offensive lines in the league? Is that what you see?
I 100% believe this offensive line is going to be top tier. It's going to be a top 5 offensive line by season's end. And that to me even includes if, knock on wood, Tyron steps out and then Olu steps in. I just think his pass protection prowess is going to allow to be able to carry him a long way in protecting Aaron Rodgers. But Nick Bosa is different.
He's a stud.
Nick Bosa is different, man. Like, listen, I think they're going to hold their own, but he's going to get into the backfield. He's going to. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when and how often. But I don't know. That's going to be an indictment on the offensive line. It's Nick freaking Bosa. Like, this dude he's a machine. So I hope you're right. I really hope you're right, New York for Life. I would like that he stands back there untouched. And again, I really believe the hardest test the New York Jets are going to have all season is in week 1 against the 49ers. I look at every other team and I'm just like, I'm not scared of any other team. I look at the 49ers and I think we can beat them. But I look at them and I'm like, man, that defense though is still pretty real. Like, those boys are real. But again, they're top heavy. I love the fact that we have so much depth, because I was looking at like the best rosters in the NFL. And there's a couple of the 49ers, the Browns. Okay, cool. They've got the probably the better rosters if you want to go ahead and be unbiased. But in terms of the depth, when you have to dig into your bag of players, the Jets, I think, by far. I don't know how we got here, but I love it that we're here.
Well, I'll tell you what, another interesting thing to say, you bring up Nick Bosa. Don't forget Leonard Floyd's over on the other side. We got to shake off the bugaboo. He's the guy that was the pressure on Aaron Rodgers where the Achilles popped. So, there's a lot to overcome this year. Like, I believe in that kind of stuff. It's like playing Zach and Sam and Gino. Like, they're just core, but there's extra, there's energies, there's extra stuff. The idea that Aaron Rodgers made it 4 plays and it happened to be Leonard Floyd, and then he happens to be the guy, he goes to the Niners and we're playing him week 1. Like, I don't know. There's just freaky deaky energy to that. I don't know how I feel about it.
If there's probably no worse matchup you could have asked for week 1 than to have to travel across the country on a Monday night opening weekend to play San Francisco, who's right up there in contention for Super Bowl champions. Like, I get it, you have to play who you have to play, but the schedule gods could have thrown us a freaking bone. They could have threw us one freaking bone, dude.
It was brutal.
Yeah, even if it was Tennessee first and San Francisco second, okay. You know what I mean? Throw us a bone.
2 consecutive Monday night footballs too, and all those primetime games. Think about this. The reason we're going to the Denver game for the Talking Jets ticket buy is because it's the only 1:00 game at MetLife until December.
Yeah.
December. So we're on Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. Our home opener is Thursday night football. It's a crazy thing. So I think the schedule makers didn't, like you said, do us any favors, and starting in San Fran, it's I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more difficult scenario, but it's gonna be interesting, man.
Gunny, you coming out for the Denver game, Gunny?
Nah, I'm going to the Miami Dolphins game.
Okay.
The Steelers game. And I'm trying to decide one more. The Denver one wasn't the one, because the Denver one is what? It's the
4th week.
4th week, right?
September 29th.
If you could work the ticket, bro, if you could work the airfare, I got your ticket. You sit with me.
Hey, I wanted to point something out.
Okay.
There's something beautiful going on in the chat right now. So RB Gamer, I want to thank RB Gamer for gifting a membership. That's a wonderful thing to do. You know who got it, Dom?
No.
Modine got the membership. So Modine gets the membership. So Modine, knowing that clearly RB Gamer didn't want me to get this membership. So Modine comes back and gifts a membership. And the one and only Dano Jets is the recipient
let's
of that.
go.
All right, Dano.
RB Gamer and Modine. Beautiful. It's a love fest.
And Dano just gifted one too. He's throwing the.
And then look at this. It's a Pay It Forward Thursday. Dano gifts a membership.
Look at Dano.
And John is the recipient of the new Stream Beaner membership. You guys are just wonderful. Now, John, no pressure, but this is pretty cool.
There's a string going on right now. There's a pretty good streak happening right about now, John. Oh, and he does it. And
John
there it is.
gives 5 Stream Beaner memberships. So the recipients are Duncan McLean, Cuca Lake, John Hepburn, Hank G, and Scott V. Some of my personal favorites, if I may. Cuca Lake, one of the greats. I think he's one of the Crossfire and Cuca Lake are the originators of the rigged thing over at Talking Jets. What are you doing, Dom? You messing with my thing?
I hit him. You know what? I forgot I got like the master controls and I hit something.
Yeah, go ahead. Put John back up. There he goes.
I went to click on something. I forgot I had the master controls.
I'm watching the screen. I'm like, because it's weird because YouTube is delayed. So when I look at YouTube, I see shit happening that I'm not doing. I couldn't tell what I was looking at. I was like, wait, what's happening? But you Dom, play around, man. You can play with stuff.
It's okay.
But this is beautiful. Hey, thank you to RB Gamer, Modine, Dano, and John. You guys are amazing. And guys, enjoy the emojis, enjoy the free super chat that you get with the membership. Very, very cool stuff. So let's do this. I wanted to ask you guys. I know it's sort of a dead horse at this time, and there's nothing that we can really do. But I want to get your thoughts. Gunny, I'll start with you. How realistic is it that Reddick is a part of this team week one? Like, all right, he made it through training camp, all the preseason, the Jets haven't budged. Or there was some rumor the other day about the Jets making another offer or something like that. But what do you think? How realistic is it that we see Hassan Reddick as a member of the Jets against the San Francisco 49ers?
If I had to bet on it, I wouldn't bet on it. I don't think he's going to be there week one.
Go to Bet US and don't bet on Reddick.
Don't bet on Hassan Reddick being there week one. I think at this point, especially after the whole Judon thing kind of came out, which made him look even more ridiculous, right? I think now it's a pride factor, and pride could be a killer of men. I think he's going to ultimately go ahead and try to ride this out to prove how serious he is, and probably miss a couple of games, willing to go ahead and forfeit some checks. I do believe he winds up coming to be a New York Jet. I don't see it. I don't see him making it to week one. And I'm starting to believe wholeheartedly that Reddick knows he's not in a position or is capable of putting up the elite kind of production that he used to back in the day. And he doesn't want to get that put on tape. He's banking on getting paid right now based off of his past, by what he can do in the interim. And I don't think he's going to risk it. I think he's going to wind up not being there week one.
Dom, how do you feel?
I don't know if he'll play week one, but I think these next 2 weeks, I just feel it in my bones, man. I got a text message. I think I shared it with you, GreenBean. I have somebody that I trust implicitly who got some inside knowledge, and he told me, just in a very, very generic, random text, hey, something's happening. Stay tuned. That's all he said. I said, well, you can't leave me hanging like that. He said,
that's terrible. I'd rather you not tell me anything.
That's the worst.
Stay tuned. So I think that makes me think that there's some traction behind the scenes on Reddick. But listen, even if he signed next week, by the cut downs and so on and so forth, I don't know if he's ready for week one, outside of maybe just throw him in there in some pass rush situations and, he gets 10, 12, 15 reps in the game. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll see him on the Jets 53-man roster by week one.
All right. Well, that's interesting. You hear that, guys? Dom got the inside track there. Something is happening.
Yeah,
I have no idea what
I have no idea what it is.
It could be that the Jets just got an amazing deal on prime rib. We have no idea, but it's exciting nonetheless.
Well, I was talking to him. What's funny? And here's the truth. And when I don't claim to know anything, but this source is good. He's reliable. GreenBean, the stuff the stuff that he says is spot on. And we were talking. I kind of just poke the bear every once in a while, see if I can get some inside stuff. And I was talking to him about Jahan Dotson. When the news came about last week that Dotson would be available, I was like, "God, is there anything happening inside? Do you hear anything about Dotson or maybe another wide receiver, so on and so forth?" So shortly after that, he said, and when I say shortly, the next day, he's like, "Hey, stay tuned, something's brewing." So I thought he was talking about Dotson, and then Dotson got traded today. So I was like, "Oh, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was Reddick's going to sign." That's my gut. I think that these next 2 weeks, now after camp is over and they settle on their 53, I think Joe Douglas can say, "Okay, I'm going to work now. I'm going to lock myself in."
I agree.
I'm going to now it's time.
In the Talking Jets chat, we had a couple other ideas. So Who was it? Was it Tigo that said CeeDee Lamb's coming? The Jets are getting CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. You got the potential, maybe Devontae Adams or something. Maybe the Jets are looking at their wide receivers. We're watching. I'll show you something right here. As D New York for Life says, F the Dragon. We are the Dragon, Dom C. But watch this. Watch this real quick. Here we go. So this is why maybe they're going to be looking at Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb. I would have loved Jahan Dotson, by the way. I'm actually a Dotson fan. I liked him coming out. Watch this play. Wide open. Oh, not a touchdown because I decided to suck. Instead, here we go again. Just watch it. Alan Lazard over there on the right side. Look at him. Wide open. Perfect pass in his hands. I can't do it. Maybe Joe Douglas said enough is enough. Going to get CeeDee Lamb, Dom. Maybe that's what the big news is. That would be funny. So J Boy checking in. Thank you, D New York for Life. J Boy checking in. What's up, buddy? He says, with the Niners D line being that good, not having the starting O line playing Saturday is bad coaching. The O line comes out flat like last season. But again, just like I'm showing you here, this is the starting O line, J Boy, playing against the Giants, and they did it against the Panthers, and they did it. So they're not playing in the preseason game. But I mean, I think Gunny's point about Aaron Rodgers being in red, he can't be touched, I think that has some real merit. But the O-line is playing together, right here. Like it's a little different than years past. And I don't want to belabor the point necessarily, but it's not the same. Like we're just practicing, and the only opportunity to play against competition is in the preseason game. Like these joint practices changed everything. And so here you go. Look, these are our guys. Look at it. Look at him throwing it. Look at this. Look at Garrett Wilson. I don't want to say uncoverable because I believe in jinx, but holy shit, Gunny. This guy, let's watch that one again. Look at the protection.
I'm trying to I remember this play, obviously. I mean, and not only
all over Twitter,
seeing it there, but you see it, you saw it 1,000 times. But I just don't know how he gets that open. I just don't.
Because he's him, Dom. That's why.
What is the defense?
Him.
I know you'd like to see, what move, what made the guy, the defensive back jump, come up. But look at this.
We talking about the one where.
Go on, Gunny. Go ahead.
If you watched it, because I had somebody else I posted it on Twitter. They had the other angle, which was pretty awesome. It's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was literally looking left. His helmet is not looking at Garrett Wilson. It's looking that way. Okay, and you saw the players moving to that side of the field. And I didn't see it at all until you saw it from the angle that he pointed out. And Aaron Rodgers is looking that way and threw it that way. I think that's why he was able to get so open.
Okay, there's also a nice fake with Braylon Allen, who I'd like you to watch as well. So we'll watch this a couple times. Focus on Aaron Rodgers' head, but also take a look at Braylon Allen. So he gets the fake. And then he decides to there's some pressure, and he just pops him. He just, a nice good pop on the pass rusher. Looked like a defensive tackle, but let's watch it here. Braylon Allen, dude, having running backs that enjoy pass protecting is going to be a game changer too.
Oh, and I'm sure you've seen the Breece Hall rep.
Yep,
where he stood up and just laid out the linebacker.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't.
It's so pretty, GreenBean. It's so pretty.
We'll find that too. So here, watch this. So there's a nice fake. Now wait, where's Garrett Wilson in the alignment here? Let's try to find him. Where is that? Him over here on the left side, Dom?
No, I think that's him flanked out. That's Gibson on the slot. I can't see. I can't.
Yeah. Okay.
So small, so blurry. I don't see it here. Let's see.
All right. Yeah, that's him on the. Yeah, that's him right there. So he's over to the left side, Dom. That was him. Let me back it up. So look, there's a nice fake. Everybody's biting on the fake. So look, everybody's frozen. See that? They're all frozen.
Yeah, and it looks like they're. I mean, I'm just by looking at it, it looks like they're in cover 6.
Yeah, he's gone.
And yep. So here's what happened. See this guy right here running there, 44.
All right, hold on. Let me get back
He
over.
he blew his coverage. It looked like they were in cover
right
cover
here?
6, yeah, cover 6 with a man match. Yes. So he's manned up he's manned up on this side, but once there's a receiver that drops into his area, he's supposed to trail off and leave this guy here. If he stops, which he does, Lazard kind of stops right here. Boom. See how he comes up and stays with him? He's supposed to drop off and be in that back third, because you have 3 and 3 for the 6. You see the 3,
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
This guy
and
right here is not in his zone. He's supposed to be in the deep third here. So it's just a misplay on him, because he stays in man, and then look, there's nobody there. There's your 2 guys that, the 2 guys trailed off where they're supposed to. They kept getting depth with the receivers who are in their zones. So this is a cover 6, pretty simple, pretty vanilla. Cover 6 with a man match on the bottom, but he stayed with the man. He's supposed to trail off on that. I'm assuming. I'm not in the defensive huddle, so I can't call. I don't know exactly what the call is, but that's what it looks like to me. Is that guy 44 just blew his coverage?
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens here. Handoff.
You got to find that Breece Hall one. I'm going to look for it right now.
Well, where was it? All right, let's go to Twitter. Hold on. I'll get this off. And whoops, what the hell happened here? All right, so we're here, Dom. Go. I'm going to look for this on Twitter real quick. Or Gunny. Boogie Down Bronx. Zach Wilson can't even beat out a rook. Wow, he sucks. Gunny, what are your thoughts? Bo Nix, they're saying, I mean, look, he's saying looking really good, though. Maybe better than even they thought he would. But the point remains, how do you see that with the Zach Wilson situation, Gunny?
I have
Zach
it.
Wilson.
I have it. You want me to send it to you?
No, just share it. You can just share it share the screen.
You've got the God codes.
Oh, that's right.
But let's answer this first. Go ahead. We'll do Boogie Down Bronx.
I think it's telling, right? Because is it Stidham? That's the backup QB.
Yeah,
for the Bronx. He couldn't beat him out too. He's QB3. He's behind Stidham. He's behind Bo Nix. It just goes to show just how bad this dude was, right? You got Sean Payton talking about, he's a quarterback guru because he did that thing one time with Drew Brees. Brings him out there, and you would think maybe he'd be able to go ahead and bark some wisdom on Zach. But man, I saw that preseason game when Zach got in there. It was atrocious. He was doing a lot of Zach Wilson things, missing screen passes, stepping into his own end zone and getting sacked for a safety. Like it just, again, as much as we've all talked about Zach Wilson's arm talent, unfortunately for him, the football IQ was non-existent and the game was too fast for him. And you saw it game and every other game you saw it. So, yeah, man, Zach Wilson is trash. It is what it is, but that's okay. He was able to achieve his dream of playing in the NFL, right? He was a second overall pick in the NFL. You got paid millions and millions of dollars to not really be successful at this level. And not everybody's going to be in that 1% that can make it at this level. It's okay. Hey, you got us. You got the Broncos for a little bit. Unfortunately, I think, real soon, Zach Wilson's going to be a real estate agent in Utah somewhere. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, he'll be calling Utah's, state games. You know what I mean? That's what he's going to be. All right, here we go. Thank you, Boogie Down Bronx. And D New York for life. You're up next. Here, make it big. Yeah, make it big.
I don't know how to make it big.
Go inside you were just in there, going there?
On the bottom right. Yeah, hover over it again.
There we go.
You had it, buddy.
I'm hovering over it.
No, hover over the actual tweet,
the video.
like right there, right there.
See on the bottom
the
right,
arrows.
2 arrows.
There you go.
All right.
My Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I need to see it again.
My gosh.
Rodgers like an idiot. All right.
Run it back.
Just keep your eye on Breece Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Late.
Right.
One more time for you, Bean.
Yeah, you're right. Here we go.
Let's watch the linebacker get
Dude, that's so great, man. I tell
so
you,
good,
You know
right? So good.
You know
why
what else
he
is good
did
about
that?
it?
Go on, Gunny.
Brees loves to protect his quarterback. Braylon loves to protect his quarterback. Isaiah Davis loves to protect their quarterback. Like, all three of them have shown ridiculous strides in pass blocking in training camp and in preseason. And then Brees Hall, when they asked him how he was feeling after laying out the linebacker in the press conference, my man said that he's like, hey, if my QB is good, then I'm good. That was it.
Whatever it takes to protect 8. That's what he said.
I
Whatever it takes to
loved
protect
it.
8.
Well, you know what? And it's funny because, Brees Hall, if you remember last year, he was knocking dudes out of games. Like, let's not forget that. But with all this talk about Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, and he said, don't forget, this is what I do. I got that too. So it's going to be a fun year. If you like smash mouth, knock people's heads off football, it's really lining up to be a fun year, man. Like I'll tell you, my kind of stuff, man, to watch. D New York for life checking back in. Thank you, buddy. He says G5 equals 28 touchdown island. 20-0 coming. Hashtag believe. 28 touchdowns. Well, I'll tell you,
26.5 is the over under that's Vegas has put out for him.
That's
26.5.
Wait, for Garrett Wilson?
No.
For Aaron Rodgers.
He's just
okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Gotcha,
I don't think you're saying Garrett Wilson's going to have 25, 28.
So I see G5.
Never mind. I just saw G5.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
G5
but I
equals
think
28.
I mean, he, look, Jets. I mean, a Jet quarterback hasn't even ever had. I mean, I think Patrick is 30, 29, 31, some shit. But like Zach Wilson, his best year was 11 touchdowns. I think. Right?
God,
Think about how bad that is, dude.
Was it 11? I thought it was 9. I thought it was 9 touchdowns,
I think
11.
He had
interceptions.
11. I'll tell you.
11 touchdowns.
But but he's not alone. Like you look at Sam Darnold and like we don't get touchdowns. So like the idea that a wide receiver would have 28. But I think the point is great. Like Garrett Wilson on this team means our quarterback's going to throw 28 touchdowns. Yeah. So Zach Wilson, he had 9. You're right. He didn't have. Well, you know what I was doing? He had 2 rushing touchdowns that year. Hold on. Let me see here. So 9 touchdowns his rookie year. Then he had 6. Then he had 8. So
9 and 6 is 15, and 8 is 23.
23.
How many quarterbacks had more than 23 touchdowns last year? Probably a half dozen.
Well, we could do that.
Probably. I mean, off the cuff, at least a half dozen had more than 23. That is crazy. Crazy.
All right, I'll tell you right now. So, let's see here. Completions. Where they don't have passing leaders. I want to know touchdowns. Okay. So Dak Prescott had 36. All right, so go all the way down. 17. So you said more than 23. 14 quarterbacks had 23 or more touchdowns last year. And then there are, 3 or 2 more that had 21, 2 more that had 20. Well, like, yeah, man. And
so Zach, there's 14 quarterbacks that did more last year than Zach did in 3 years. Think about that. Let that settle.
Joe Flacco played 5 games and had 13. So, but let me look at Sammy. Let me look at Sammy boy. Sam didn't do much better, man. I'm telling you, so we had 23 touchdowns in 3 years with Zach, right? Now let's look at Sam Darnold real quick. Sam had 17 touchdowns, much better actually. 17, 19, and 9. So, I mean, look, what's funny? I couldn't wait to get rid of Sam Darnold. Like at that last, I'm like, enough. I'm just enough of Sam Darnold, 9 touchdowns. But like you look at it in comparison, and it's like, Oh shit, I would have loved 19 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know
The
what I mean?
grass is always greener. The
Tell you,
grass is
man.
always greener.
Yeah. It's just crazy to think, how many did Tim Boyle have? So let me see if he had, did he have any?
I don't think he had any. 0.
Had to have some. He had to have at least a handful.
All right. So Tim Boyle had 1 passing touchdown
Jeez.
in 3 games. And let's look at Trevor Siemian. Okay. So what I say Zach had, how many did Zach have?
9.
6?
23.
No,
Zach Wilson?
no, but
Last
he had
year?
9, 6, and it was 8. So he had 8 touchdowns last year. So let's look at, so then Tim Boyle had 1, so that's 9 passing touchdowns. Let's look at Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian had 2. So collectively, all year last year, we rooted, we paid money, we spent time talking, and we ate hot dogs and pretzels and fucking knishes and everything else. And we watched a grand total of 11 passing touchdowns all year.
Oh, wait, how many did Brees have by himself last year?
Brees Hall?
Was it 9 or 10?
Let's
Did
take
Brees
a
have
look.
double digits?
No, I don't believe so.
No, I don't
So then
think
it's
so. But
9.
let's take a
Then it's
look.
probably
Brees
9.
Hall had 5 touchdowns last year. 5
Total?
5 rushing and 4 receiving. So 9.
So 9, yeah.
He had 9. Think about that. So the quarterbacks had 11, 4 of which were Brees Hall, but he had 9. Jesus. Oh, I can't handle it.
We're not going to understand. I don't think the Jets fan of recent years is going to be able to fully comprehend viable offense that we're going to see this year. Like it just, we're going to put up points and be like, what is this?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Dude,
Are we supposed to be doing that?
Well, and think about it, guys. This is how, so look, we won 7 games last year, and let's just say 2 others, like the Raiders and the Falcons. Let's just say there were others, but the Raiders, we were totally in those games, and even the Chiefs game, like we could have very easily won any of those games, and that's what we saw offensively. That's how good this defense really is. That's how good they really are. Now, we lost Bryce Huff. We lost a couple guys. But it's predominantly the same guys. And our real stars, Bryce Huff was the biggest loss, right? But our real stars, Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, JJ, Quincy, and Mosley, like those, they're all still here. DJ Reed, Michael Carter II. We're adding Chuck Clark.
We're getting AVT back. We've added Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses,
Well,
which
that's
are
the offense. I'm talking about just the defense.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it's really crazy. So, but that's how good this defense really is. Imagine them playing. I know you hear it all the time. Imagine them playing with a lead. But here, not even that. Imagine them getting, like, if we have 6 to 9 minute drives. Like dude, how many times? Right? How many times do we see them get like an emotional, fumble or a 3 and out, and they run off and they grab the bottle of water and they're like, get the fuck back on the field. Don't you put your ass on that seat. They're like, it's like after a while. You know what's funny? Like, remember in 2022, like the Detroit game, right? We we blanked them all game. Gave the offense, there was numerous turnovers, and then they blow one play, and we lost the game. Like it was a blown coverage on the tight end. He goes a 70-yard touchdown over. And the whole week, everybody, the defense sucks. They're fraudulent. It's like, what? One play. They can't give up one play, and the game's toast. That's how tight the defense had to keep it. Proud New York Jet fan. That's Nick Shine, if you don't know everybody. Bo Nix looks great because Jeremy swore he would suck. As always, Jeremy sucks. Love the trio, fellas. Keep up the good work. Yeah, that's funny. Right. We got to tell Jeremy, man. Yeah, you got to stop making proclamations.
Jeremy's catching strays. He's not even in the chat. Like he's probably at home watching Thursday Night Football, catching strays in the chat.
That's right, man. Right now, Jeremy's got a half-pound burger and 2 pounds of fries right in front of him. He's like, "What do I do?" That's what's going on right now. Nick Shine throwing stones at our boy Jets Chaos. Oh, there it is. So, yeah, okay. Well, J Boy with did I already do that one? Yeah, I did that one. Okay. So yeah, man. So what else? What else we got? Any other any other stories come out of this Jets camp? We could look at.
I mean, the 53, the 53 should be interesting, right? The final fit, that comes out Tuesday at 4:30. The 53 after all the cuts have to be in. I was talking about this today with some guys in the Twitter spaces. I really think it's like the top 49 or 50 are done. I think there's probably a couple spots still left to be determined. Are they going to keep one of these special team only guys in Irv Charles or Brandon Codrington, or are they going to keep an extra defensive end in lieu of Hassan Reddick not being here? Do they keep a fifth linebacker? I mean, I think these are the decisions that are going to be made. Do they keep a sixth receiver? If they do, is it Brendan Smith or is it Jason Brownlee? I think these are the last few decisions that have to be made.
Well, let me rephrase it. You're absolutely right, but let me rephrase it like this. If you had to pick a truly surprising cut, and I'll go to both of you guys, like who do you think is most likely? I'll start with you, Dom, just because you were just talking about it. But like if not Irv Charles,
yeah, I got one. I absolutely got one. And people are gonna hate this in the chat, but hear me out. Hear me out.
Take my guy.
I think Tack McKinley does not make the 53.
Really?
I think Tack McKinley. Well, there's a reason for it.
I know, and you're good. It's a good reason. Go ahead.
Tack McKinley's a vested veteran, right? He does not have to be exposed to waivers. He can revert right back to the practice squad, let them figure out what the Reddick thing is, and then just activate him for week 1. So I think Tack McKinley's there. I don't think that they're going to have to worry about protecting him because he doesn't have to be exposed to waivers. They can talk that out and say, and there's no guaranteed money on it. So they can put him on there and then call him up when they need him and then activate him on the 53 if they want to choose him once they're out of that option of calling him up or down. So for me, I think that's an easy one. I think because Tack McKinley's probably played well enough to be on the 53, but I think for those kind of reasons, he's not going to be. Now, on the other hand, one guy I think that will be on the 53 that a lot of people aren't is Jake Hansen, the interior lineman. I think he's the 9th offensive lineman that's kept. He's got guaranteed money, so we would have to carry a dead cap hit if we cut him. He is a vested veteran, so he does not have to be exposed to waivers, but for the reason of the dead cap hit that would come along with him, and the fact that I know that the Jets brass really, really like Jake Hansen, I think he's on the team.
Yeah, interesting. Because that's the thing. Look, if you're playing chess and you sit down and you talk to Tack McKinley, like, look, we have every intention of keeping you on this team this year.
Yeah, you're gonna play. You're gonna get a lot of reps. You're gonna starter, but
it gives you the opportunity to keep somebody else and like let the waiver shit settle and all that kind of stuff. And then you kind of protect someone. So you let everybody sign their guys and then you can release somebody and they're a little bit more protected, a little bit more likely to make it to your practice squad. Somebody you feel like that would get snatched in the initial waiver clamor. You can do that. It's actually smart. It would be disappointing at first, but I think it's a smart move. Gunny, who do you have?
Yeah, I love Tack McKinley. I love everything I've seen about him thus far in the preseason. I think he's been the most productive edge rusher we've had actually in preseason games. That worries me. I see where Dom is coming about in terms of playing chess, but I think what we've seen right now from Jets players who've come here on the defensive line specifically have been able to gone off and go ahead and get themselves the bag because they got exposed to this system and we've been able to reignite a fire under their butts. I think because of that, I wouldn't risk McKinley. For me, call me crazy, I think it's Clemens. I think Clemens specifically has not really done anything from what I've seen in training camp, from what I've seen in the preseason, that holds a lot of value when you're looking at trying to have the best guys on your line. People keep talking about Clemens being the replacement for freaking Huff. I don't know why they even keep bringing him up. There's, I think, several layers of individuals ahead of him before you even get to Clemens being the guy you need to replace Huff's production, or even JFM's for that matter. I wouldn't be surprised if it's him. I think that Clemens right now would be somebody you could stash away on the practice squad. He hasn't shown you anything throughout his entire tenure as a Jets defensive lineman that would warrant another team saying, you know what, that dude, I'm going to put on my 53-man roster. Whereas McKinley, who's got the first-round pedigree, who you've already seen do some really nice things in preseason, that kind of stuff being put on tape is what you always hear Saleh talking about, putting good stuff on tape, if not for us, for the next team. That concerns me because, again, defensive line, especially at that edge position, it's a valuable position. And he's looked like he's kind of like refound himself throughout preseason. So I wouldn't risk McKinley. For me, I think it winds up being Clemens. If it's not Clemens, don't think I'm crazy, but I think the what we've seen in JBC might put a guy like Echols either on the trading block or potentially on that outside looking in.
Problem is JBC's hurt again.
Yeah.
But talking to, or based off of what Saleh said, take that with a grain of salt. He thinks he's going to be fine here coming to the season opener, though.
Oh, a huge touchdown run by your boy, GreenBean.
Let's see.
38 yards. Carson Steele bouncing off of guys.
You got to love it. I'm telling you. Once again, I mean, look, he's playing against fucking garbage men and car salesmen. But it is what it is. You can only play who's in front of you, right?
That's it.
Like I would say all the time, it's like, look, when you're got like an undrafted free agent or third stringer or whatever, and they come up, like they got to show, like, all right, you're either of this pool of talent or you're the best of this pool of talent, right? That's how you climb up the chart. It's like when I play with these scrubs, I'm clearly better. Put me in the number 2s, and you go there and you see how they do there. Carson Steele, I love it. I'm gonna root for him unless he does anything against us. And then I hate his face.
I don't think you'll see him on the roster.
No, well, I think he's going to bounce around practice squad a little while. He's going to need, they're going to develop him. But I like him. That's good. At least, he gets his moment there. Now, I want to say this, though. Look, John is saying Sammy Boy is going to prove he's a good quarterback. I'll tell you what. If there was ever a situation for Sam Darnold to succeed, he comes like he spent the year with Shanahan last year. He comes to the Vikings. He's the number 2-ish, and he gets vaulted into the starting lineup. He's got McCown as his quarterback coach again. Remember, that was essentially his quarterback coach here for that 1 year. He's got Justin Jefferson. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, if there's ever a scenario where Sam can come out from the depths, this is it. That said, I mean, I think he'll be good. I think Sam is what Sam is. I don't know, but I thought that about Geno too. Geno was a journeyman for 9 years, and then he ended up sitting in Seattle, sitting behind Russell Wilson for a couple of years, and look at him now. So who knows? Stranger things have happened, but I think Sam is going to Sam, and but it's a good situation. I think he'll be a middling average quarterback, which is shit. I would have loved an average quarterback the last few years. Boogie Down Bronx checking back in, says Hassan Reddick is playing himself out of a bag. Horrible business decision. Well, I'll tell you what, I tend to think the same thing unless the Jets, like we talked about a few minutes ago, unless Joe Douglas just says, you know what, I don't care. I'm going all in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to give it to him. But I don't think that's going to happen. I tend to agree. Dom, how do you see this one?
I don't know if he's playing. I think that he's getting direction from his agent. Like, I don't know if this is all Hassan Reddick. I don't want to. I don't think that he's this self-absorbed. But some of these guys rely on their agents, and look at who the track record for this agency. DK Metcalf, same thing. Held out until he got the bag, right? Deebo Samuel, same thing. Held out till he get the bag. CeeDee Lamb, holding out till he gets the bag. So this is just what this agency does. Like, I don't know if he's Elijah Moore. I don't know if he's playing himself out of a bag. I just don't know if, like, at 30 years old, I don't know if the bag's as big as he expects it to be.
That part.
Because the best thing, if he really wanted to play himself in for a big time contract, you'd come in and produce, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to get paid off of yesterday's meal, right? He's trying to fill up on yesterday's meal, and that can take you so far, but at some point you're going to get hungry again, and he's got to show that he can do it. So I don't know if he's playing himself out of the bag. I think he's getting bad advice. So
yeah, well, like you said, it's a little different, with somebody like a Debo. They were younger.
Mhm.
I mean, they did the same thing. Like Elijah Moore, he's best friends with AJ Brown too. Same agency. So it worked for all them. Elijah Moore got himself traded. It hasn't worked. I mean, he's doing fine, I guess, but
he ain't doing shit there. Let's keep it 100.
No, but he's doing okay. I mean, he's not anything great, but dude, they've had crazy quarterback turnover. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a whole, like, again, he's doing fine, but he's not going to end up getting that big contract that he was hoping to get. But again, I think the Hassan Reddick thing, what sucks is that you see Judon for half the money. He's getting what, $6 million bucks, $6.5 million. He goes down to the Falcons and he says exactly what Hassan Reddick should have done and said.
Yeah.
They don't even know me yet. I haven't played a snap for these guys. I was holding out up there. I was doing, let me go down here and show them what I am. And then we'll take care of it like that. That's the way it should be. You're already getting $14.5 million. Go through training camp and show, unless you feel like you can't, which is scary. You feel like you might have actually lost a step and you're not going to show anybody. I don't know. I think just seeing Judon do that makes it all that much worse for me. Flight Boys says, Slim God, what's up, dude? I think you guys are wrong about Sam and Clemens. You mean Kellen Clemens? We're not wrong about him.
I think he's referring to my take on Clemens.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. Wow.
Good old Mike, Big Mike.
Yeah.
So we're wrong about Sam Darnold.
I don't know. Sam, maybe Tack. Maybe he meant like me and our takes. Mine Tack McKinley not making it, and Gunny's Clemens not making it.
Yeah, I think Mike Clemens one is what he's talking about, but I think it's about Sam Darnold when GreenBean said that he thinks Sam is who Sam's going to be, and he doesn't really think he's going to go ahead and get any better.
Okay,
that's what I think he's referring to.
Look, I'll say, when he went down to Carolina, he had Joe Brady, who everybody was, in love with at the time. He's a good offensive coordinator, right? But they had Matt Rule. He had Terrace Marshall. He had Christian McCaffrey. He had Robbie Anderson. He had who's the other wide receiver down there? DJ Moore was down there at the time. And he came out. They were 3-0, and he sucked after that. The year 2 sucked again. Goes over to Shanahan. Great offensive mind. Shanahan didn't re-sign him. You know what I mean? So, like, what does that tell you? Again, I think it's a good situation for him, and I think if he's going to have a resurgence, this is the place. This is the situation for him. But I don't know, man. Here's the thing. Like, when people say, like, you'll see Zach's this or you'll see Sam's this. Like, I don't know. I'm just going by the data, dude. Like, I have hope for players too, and I love Kenny Yeboah and all. You know how I am. But it's like, at the same time, I'm not saying Kenny Yeboah is going to light the league on fire. I'm not saying he's going to be the best tight end in the NFL. It's like, you look at Sam's got 6 years in the NFL. He's got 66 games that he was available, 56 of which he's played. He has 63 touchdowns and 56 interceptions, and that's not including all the fumbles. He was a fumbleitis guy too. So I mean, I don't know. If you're saying that he's going to be different, he's been with Shanahan, he's been with Joe Brady. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's been with Adam Gase the whole time. So I don't know. I mean, if you're saying that he's going to be, and I'm not saying, I don't know, Flight Boys, if this is what you mean, directly, but if you're saying that Sam's something other than that, the data doesn't support that. It's not like he was one situation and you can blame it on anybody. He's had last year he had Kittle, he had Ayuk, and he sucked. You know what I mean? Like he came in for that only for a little bit. He looked good for it half the game, and then he fumbled, and then Sam did what Sam does, and that was it. And again, Shanahan didn't say this. I want him back as my number 2. He said, go ahead, get out of here. So what does that tell you?
Josh Dobbs. He brought in Josh Dobbs. He thinks Josh Dobbs is a better backup.
He thinks Josh Dobbs is a better option. So again, like I don't hate Sam. Like I hate every player equally.
Who's not here anymore. Yeah,
right. That's just the way I am. But I don't have any like particular venom for Sam. But the data supports that he is an average quarterback at best.
Bean, who's the one ex-Jet that you actually hate the most, that you actually spit, piss, and vinegar about? Who's the
current
just like who's the one guy who was a Jet, you loved him, you cheered for him, and then once he's gone, you said, this motherfucker?
Well, I'll tell you, my wife, when I met you guys know I'm in AA, so we do this thing in AA where we have like step 9 is step 4, I should say, is like we write down our inventory and we get rid of resentments.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, when the first year or 2, and maybe like 2 or 3 years of our relationship, she said to me, you should probably do a 4th step specifically on John Abraham, because I don't even know who this guy is. And you complain about him like he's on the TV. I'm like, he's fucking retired. And I'm like, so probably Abraham. I didn't like those playoffs and shit and not playing. And I don't know. I didn't appreciate John Abraham. So maybe he's up top, but yeah, I mean, most Jets, and we love them, and once they go, most of the time they don't go anywhere else and succeed. We've collected bad players for a very long time. And like, I knew it even in the draft, like we're watching the drafts and the players that they're picking, and you guys know, I'm like, what is this? Why are we picking so, and then they come here, they suck. And then we let him go, and everybody goes, oh, you should totally re-sign Jordan Jenkins. You'll see he's going to be this and that. And he's nothing, because he was nothing to begin with. He's an average player. So generally speaking, if they don't make it with the Jets, they're very rarely do they go. Demario Davis is a good example of somebody who's made it, but like generally speaking, like what Jet goes somewhere and ends up being great after we don't have him, right? Is there a long list?
It's really
Cashman great. Cashman. But is he great?
No. But he made a couple of Pro Bowls. You got to give him props for that. I didn't think that would have ever happened. He made 2 Pro Bowls, if I'm not mistaken, right? So Cashman, Demario Davis.
Davis, exactly. Like
Geno Smith. I mean, it took 9 years.
But that's the thing.
Greg Van Roten?
Years.
Ooh.
Greg Van Roten.
Greg Van Roten's a good one, too. Yeah.
He's all right. But he's making a career out of it. So you give him that. Sure.
I tell you, Elijah Moore is my guy that I rooted for him so hard. And the way that he was, like, now I see him and I hope he steps on Legos barefooted in the dark all the time. And I'm being nice.
100%.
Yeah.
I hope he stubs his toe every time he gets out of bed, or every time he wakes up. I would have died on the hill for that man, but then the way he found his way out of freaking New York, I was just like, all right, you're creeping up to that Jamal Adams type of hate that I have for Jamal Adams now. Like
Jamal Adams is
really
a good one
right there. Jamal Adams oh man.
Fuck Jamal Adams, dude. What an asshole.
With a
and
passion.
Look at him. Then now he said he was all depressed in Seattle too. Like, well, look, I'm a mental health guy. If that's real, then get it taken care of. Go get treated for it. But don't start blaming every situation that you're in. Where is he now? Where did he get signed? Did he get signed?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, we get to see him week 2. Oh man.
So here's the greatest part about Jamal Adams. I'll give you a quick story about the signing of Jamal Adams. So he did say that, he was on the outs and, the Seattle stuff wasn't going to work. And they had asked him to move to linebacker. And he said, no way, I'm not a linebacker. I'm a safety, blah, blah, blah. Signed to Tennessee. He's playing linebacker.
Yeah.
Just like Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton, I am a left tackle. Bah, bah, bah. You know what?
Take
No,
your
you
ass to guard.
yeah, you're right guard. And guess what? You might still be here, and you might still have a better career if you were a little bit more flexible and lenient to do that here. But I digress.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jamal Adams is a good one. I can't stand Jamal Adams. Sam Aiken, what's up, buddy? Thank you. He says, excuse me, Clemens cannot be used as a pass rusher. He is not the second option as a run stuffer. How are they wrong?
Well,
I think he gets a little bit of a bad rap.
Yeah, I think he is going to be on the field more this year than we expected. I mean, I think Saleh even talked about him today in the presser. They said, they messed up. They asked him to put on the weight. They thought he could do the inside-outside versatility, and it didn't work. And they said, he's like, we screwed that up. Bad advice by us. And he praised them for what he's done against the run. Stretching out the run, stealing the edge, so on and so forth. So I think you're going to see him on early downs, and I think you're going to see Will McDonald on on passing situations. I think that's what the rotation is going to be like early on.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what Clemens does this year. But I mean, like what we talked about, surprise cut. So if he's, I think he's closer to that being real than a lot of other players. I mean, it's hard to find guys. You think a surprise cut, who are they going to cut? Michael Carter II? Who are they going to cut? CJ Mosley? Who? There's none of those guys.
Negative.
Nick says toe jokes, Gunny. Damn.
That was my bad, Nick. My bad. That was insensitive, and I apologize.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So that's going to wrap it up. I want to thank BetUS, everybody, for sponsoring the Thursday Thick of It for the 2024 season. It's exciting to have them around, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I do. I never claimed to be a sports betting guy. Now, GM is one thing, but odds, they freak me out. So we'll see how I do this year. I'm excited. But yeah, BetUS, guys, you can check or click, I should say, the link in the description for your chance to get 125% bonus on your first three deposits up to $2,000. And thank you to BetUS for sponsoring. Dom, what do you have of interest for the fine feathered folks?
Listen, I'm going to be very, very active the next couple weeks leading into the draft, leading into week one. I got a lot of different little spots and shows that I've been asked to appear on. A lot of stuff getting ready, looking over this roster, thinking about doing some breakdown of some of the guys, the 52nd, 53rd guys that do make the roster, seeing what they're all about. But for the most part, you can always catch me here on Thursdays. You can catch me on the Talking Jets Network with Ryan on Mondays at 8 p.m. Outside of that, you're going to see me the next couple weeks. I got a full schedule, so you'll see me all over the place.
Nice. Dom C, rightfully so, should be seen every single day.
I don't know about every day.
Hey, shut up, you. I'm complimenting you. I don't know how to take a compliment. We share that disease. Somebody goes, you did a good job. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm leaving my job. They want to do a party. I'm like, I'm not coming. So you guys want to have a fucking party, it's for you. Anyway, Gunny, what do you got?
Hey, as always, man, you got me on the hangout on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central. Next week, there's going to be a special on Friday. You get to go ahead and watch the New York Jets Situation Report Fantasy Football League go live on Friday night for the draft, Dom. It's Friday night. I don't know if you've seen the messages yet or not, but the draft is next Friday.
Okay.
7 p.m. Central.
Well, yeah, and look, and of course, their links to their channels are in the description of this video if you want to make it easy. But let's not forget to support the guys, Dom and Gunny. Also, Jeremy's links in there. I think Tigo's links in there. Talking Jets is in there. You can make it easy and just do that. But don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel too, everybody. I always forget to say that. It's greatly appreciated. That's the only way we can grow here on YouTube. The Wedge checking in at the very end. Thank you so much. He says, stop playing Go Jets. That's right, man. I'm right there. Stop playing. Let's just watch this team learn to allow good things to happen in your Jets' lives. That's what we're doing this year. It's an exercise in allowing good things to happen to the most tortured fan base in the NFL. With that all said, we're going to wrap it up. Guys, thank you for being here again. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Support Gunny and Dom. And with that all said, we will see you next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.